The bank is not your friend. I've said this before and I'll continue saying it again until you see what I'm talking about. Welcome to my channel. My name is Chipua Mrauzi and I'm a seasoned finance and strategy professional trying to make personal finance and lifestyle easily accessible and understandable to you. So welcome to everybody who's new on my channel. Those who have subscribed already, thank you, thank you. If you haven't, please subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss any occurrences in this channel. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm trying to say to you today is to say the bank is not your friend. You are only as useful to the bank as it can make money off of you. Get that straight in your head. It's just like when a girl loves you because everything is going well with you, but when you start suffering, that girl is not your day one. She will leave you. So that's exactly the relationship that you have with the bank. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that have a fruitful relationship with your bank, but know the limits. Don't get too comfortable. Always look at what's in it for you rather than the bank always getting from yourself. Yes, you might have a private banker who's well looking after your interest and your best friends. You go for coffees and dinners and all that. But remember, that private banker does not work for you. He or she works for the bank. So it's in the best interest for her to make profit and commissions based on what she can get from you. It's as simple as that. So I've always said that I want to make personal finance easily accessible and understandable. So I won't waste time using jargon and all those things going around the bushes. So basically I'll make it easy for you to understand, right? Let's take it for instance. You've started working, everything is nice. Now you've looked around and you've seen a beautiful apartment that you want to buy, right? And then you think, oh, let me see if I can afford this apartment. I won't go into the details of extra affordability, like the maintenance and everything of the apartment. No, I'm just making things simple for you to understand, right? So you buy that apartment, everyone is happy at home. If you believe in tradition, then you hlabimbuzi and celebrate with your ancestors that you've bought the house. Or if you're a Christian, you go to church, tell them, they celebrate. Then afterwards, you celebrate with your friends and family, housewarming, everything is pashash, everything is nice. That's the beauty of owning your first apartment, right? Then everything goes well, you start getting promotions at work, and then you decide, okay, let's back down a bit. You bought this apartment for, let's say, $1 million, just trying to make things simple again, right? You bought it for $1 million, and then after a few years, after everything is going well in your life, you decide to renovate it. Like, I don't like this kitchen, I don't like this bathroom. Let me renovate it. You renovate it, and what it's worth in the market, maybe it's 1.2 million from there. But then things happen in life and life changes dismally as and when you least expected. So as life changes, COVID hits, for example, you lose your job, and of course they'll send you reminders to say, have you paid or not? And depending on whether or not you have had insurance for cases like that, when you lose your job, when you lose disability and things like that, you might find yourself in a tough position where you are not able to pay for your house. Then they will give you at least 3 months for you to default. They won't take away your house before you default for 3 months. They'll give you that 3 months. And from that 3 months, you are thinking you're so hopeful that you are a skilled person and you'll get employment, but employment does not happen. So the relationship starts to sour. Basically simple. Girlfriend sees that you're not working. She'll be patient with you for a little while. Then after a while, she'll be like, I can do better. So that's what happens exactly with the bank. And then the bank says, okay, it's after 3 months, bro, you cannot afford this house. And we know you've paid. Say, for instance, that loan was $1 million and then you've paid for like 5 years, but still, you know that they take a lot of interest rather than paying off the principal debt. That's how the banking system works. Basically, for them to have a house being sold off a longer period is because the house appreciates and there's more chances for a credit default that you might do in the 20 years, right? So you've paid off you've paid the house in portions, like your mortgage is like 800,000 now. As the mortgage is like 800,000 now, you can't afford to pay it for 3 months or more, up to 6 months sometimes. And then they say, dude, we'll just auction your house. Then they auction the house, but when they auction it, remember that they are not looking at your best interest. They're looking at what they can recover. So they'll go to the auction house, and depending on the need of that place at that present moment, the people who will be auctioning for it, who will be bidding for it, will then set a price that they would be willing to pay. So if there are no auctioneers available that are trying to buy that house, then the bank will set up a reservation price, which that's the price that they will have bought the house back by. And more times, the reservation price is actually less than what you owe currently, right? Okay, so let's leave the reservation price. Let's say someone buys it at an auction and it buys it for like 500,000, for example. That's the same house. They bought it for 500,000. You owe the bank 800,000. And then what the bank will do, they will settle the fees. There will be other fees except for the mortgage fund. I will not complicate things once again. So there'll be other legal fees that they have to settle and administration fees that they have to settle. And then they're giving you the 500,000 to pay off the bond. But in essence, they're taking that 500,000, which would be less if the person paid 500,000 and there's those fees. But for argument's sake, it's 500,000, right? Then they take back that 500,000, and then you owe the bank what? 300,000, and you are supposed to pay that. So basically, you have no house, but you still owe the bank 300,000, and the interests are still accumulating on that 300,000 that you owe. So basically, it looks like a personal loan, for lack of better words now. You see how screwed up that is? And they're still making money from the same house, from the person who bought the house. And mind you, when I say 500,000, right? What happens with houses, they usually appreciate based on the location that they are at, and based on the amenities that start happening, the developments around the area. For example, if there's a school that develops, if there's a mall, it appreciates to more than what you bought it for, as I mentioned in the previous section, right? So what will happen is that even that 500,000 that I'm saying the person would have bought it for, it's actually understated. I'm just trying to make things easy for you, right? It could be more than what you have originally paid it for, or exactly the same amount. Because it's an auction, it's regarded as cheaper, but that person will still have to manage the whole situation on their own. Let's not care about that person. I'm looking at you at the moment, right now. So the same person comes and he can't afford 500,000 rand cash, right? And then as the person can't afford 500,000 rand cash, there are certain arrangements that are made with the bank, possibly the same bank, because in South Africa, the banks that offer home finance are quite limited, right? So offering the same, the person, the same house under a new mortgage loan, you still paying 300,000, I mean, from that previous one, but the other person now is paying the 500,000 plus interest on that one. So you see how the cycle goes and goes, that as that person renovates the house, it gains in value, but still that person, if they default in the future, then the same thing happens over and over and over and over, and you might find that the same house is now being sold to 3, 4, 5 other people, and the bank continues to earn from that house, which it makes no sense to me, but that's how the system works, unfortunately. And that's why I'm saying the bank is not your friend. If you don't have money and then they charge you for not having money, and then you're giving them an asset that is worth more than what you owe them, but you end up owing them still, then you can see that the relationship there is not reciprocal. So basically, guys, please, please, please make sure as you're buying a house, you know what other costs will come with it. You also know what other insurance policies to take with your mortgage. Luckily, in this day and age, some banks actually offer you that um, credit insurance to say if there's a shortfall, you will be able to pay that house if you get sick, critically sick, or you get disabled, or you get laid off at work, those kind of things, right? So pay attention to those things. Those things are very, very crucial. We all know that insurance sometimes it's something that you pay, but it might never happen. Your career might boom forever. You might win the lotto. You might go into business and be able to pay off that house quicker. But in the interim, let's not budget by something that we are not sure of. Let's actually work on securing our future and make sure that we are future proof as we buy property. For more details and conversations about this kind of topics, let me know in the comments, and then we'll have a sit-in like this to actually discuss in terms of how we can make our lives better and improve our relationship with the bank, whilst keeping at the back of our head knowing that, hey, the bank is not your friend.